Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here to bring you the tactical tweaks and quirks from Arsenal's 1-0 loss to Manchester City in the Premier League this Sunday. How to sum up this game? This is the. If you've ever seen the meme of you versus the man that you are not supposed to worry about, well, we're us, and Manchester City are the man we're not supposed to worry about, because for large swathes of this game, one team set out to try and win it, and one team set out to try and not lose it. And as a result, it made it into a game where whoever made the first mistake lost. And Arsenal made the first mistake. And after that, it was an illustration in the gulf in class between a team that is still trying to figure out how to play under its manager and a team that is now won 18 in a row and is comfortable playing in any formation the manager wishes to deploy it in. It is as simple as that. Manchester City are on top of their game right now, and they are comfortable in playing any formation that Pep Guardiola wants to play, and today was a perfect example of that. And usually when I change scene, the screen that comes up is the following one, and an illustration will pop up showing what I think the formation was for both teams. It shows Arsenal set up in theirs and City in set up in theirs. Today, Arsenal are set up in theirs, but City aren't. The reason I've done this is to illustrate just how much of a problem it is for a defence, even as much as one as good as Arsenal's has been this year, to deal with the amount of problems that Manchester City can throw at you at any given stage. And yes, City came flying out of the box, scoring after 2 minutes. But to illustrate the problem, let me ask you a question. Say you're Rob Holding, right? Who do you mark? If you're a centre defender, who do you mark? You mark the striker. You mark the centre forward. You make sure that he's your man. You stick tight to him. And you make sure that he doesn't evade your sight and your vision so that you don't lose track of him, right? Simple. So who does Rob Holding pick up here? Right now, it's De Bruyne, because I have De Bruyne there. The problem is that, yes, okay, sometimes De Bruyne is there. Sometimes he is the de facto centre forward. But also, sometimes it's Raheem Sterling. And also, sometimes it's Riyad Mahrez. And also, sometimes it's Bernardo Silva. And also, sometimes it's Ilkay Gundogan. So, I'm supposing you're thinking, right, it doesn't matter what the name on the back of the shirt is. Whoever's the number 9, whoever is in front of me, that's the person I'm going to mark, and that's the person that I'm going to watch. And I don't care how many times they switch it. I'm going to make sure that I just mark whatever's in the white shirt there. And that sounds like a simple solution, but it doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is exactly how Manchester City scored their goal. Because when Manchester City had the ball, and let me just show you a heat map here. So these are the heat maps of Arsenal and Manchester City with having the ball. As you can see, City would have a lot of the ball here. And the idea was to drag Arsenal all the way here so that Mahrez and Cancelo at times, although I'll get onto that later, would be one-on-one with Tierney and with Xhaka. And then either cut past them or put a cross over them to whoever's in the box. And after a minute, that's exactly what happened. Mahrez gets here. De Bruyne gets here. Bernardo Silva is lurking. Gundogan is lurking here. And Mari has the near post covered. And Mahrez puts a cross in. And Sterling has made this run into here. Holding is here and Bellerin is here. And Sterling gets in here. And the problem with I'm just going to pick up my man is that Holding looks behind him, sees Sterling, and goes, right, I've got De Bruyne in front of me. I'm fine. Sterling is Bellerin's man. Bellerin sees Sterling running towards the centre forward spot and goes, grand, He's not my man anymore. I'm assuming De Bruyne's going to go out here if the ball goes wide. I'm going to like back a little bit. He's Holding's man. The pair of them leave Sterling alone, thinking that it's the other man's responsibility. As a result, Holding is 3 yards too far forward. Bellerin is 3 yards too far back. It's a perfect cross. It's a perfect cross. It's a brilliant header. It's 1-0. And when you're set up not to concede, when you're set up to try and make it 0-0 for as long as possible so that instead of having 90 minutes to attack Manchester City and leave yourself open for counter-attack, you might have 15 and try and press for the game and try and nick it 1-0. Now Arsenal are in a bind because they can't do that. They're losing. They have to try and push forward. And they did okay. They did okay, but the problem was that City, in the first 15 minutes of either half, defended like Manchester City of 3 years ago. They pushed so high up the pitch, it was insane. And to illustrate just how insane it was, I have to go back to the heat maps again. Look where City are. This is where City had most of the ball, right? These red marks. But you're thinking, okay, well, that's where Gundogan and De Bruyne had the ball, right? Here's Ruben Dias's heat map. It's on the center spot. It's the center circle, right? Cancelo. Stat. Stones. Same. Zinchenko. They're all above the halfway line. Manchester City, when they had the ball, Diaz is here, Zinchenko is here, Stones is here, and Cancelo is here, and Fernandinho is there as well. That's Manchester City's backline when they have the ball. So obviously, Saka is going to be here, Tierney here, Holding here, Mari here, Bellerin here, Xhaka is going to be back, and Nenny's going to be back, Odegaard's going to be back, Pepe's going to be back, and Aubameyang is about here. What do you do? Like, the City have pushed so far up the pitch that everyone in the game, apart from Ederson, who I can't move, but Ederson was about here. And as a result, City often had 5 men up front, just waiting for the ball. And of course, the way it was working, Mars would sometimes be here, Bernardo Silva would be there. Or Mars would be here and Gundogan here. Or Gundogan here and De Bruyne here. Or Sterling here and De Bruyne there. They were constantly moving. It was ridiculous. And Xhaka was trying to keep up with one of them, couldn't do it. And then he was trying to keep up with another one, couldn't do it. You know, Marion Holding were doing their best, trying to stick to the centre forward, whoever it may be. But they kept getting dragged out of position, running after people who weren't their man. You know, Bellerin was constantly here, and De Bruyne would come in here, which meant that Bellerin would come back here, and then Mahrez is here. Then Elneny goes, right, I'll move in, which means Gundogan is now free, and it just continually pushes forward. But the difference between this and every other team that does it is that when Arsenal got the ball, again, if I go to City get the ball here, right? Now as you can see the arrow. So City are playing this way and Arsenal are playing this way. Look where Arsenal have the ball most. 30 yards out from their goal, 30 yards out from Arsenal's goal. The ball is constantly here. Both City and Arsenal are passing the ball in the same parts of the pitch for 90 minutes. 30 yards out from Arsenal's goal. Because when Arsenal get the ball, yes, they too try and break out. But as soon as they get one or two passes going together, Fernandinho takes out the ball runner, Zinchenko takes out the ball runner, Cancelo takes out the ball runner, Stones takes out the ball runner, Diaz takes out the ball runner, and the attack's gone. They're like, no, get out of there with that. We're not letting you develop a passing network. We're not letting you develop your own attacks. We're cutting them off at the legs. And it happened all game long. Every time Arsenal did get the ball out, and a long ball, and Manchester City were forced back somewhat, Aubameyang would get the ball here and was basically asked to be Didier Drogba. Hold the ball up and pass it to Saka or Pepe, or if Odegaard could get back. And It's not his game. It's just not his game. Stones, every time it got to the point where Leno, after being pressed by 3 or 4 players, would kick the ball long. Arsenal would have a little bit of an overlap. They would just need Aubameyang to hold up the ball, and Aubameyang would watch it sail over his head, and would then try and put Stones off as Stones went for the ball unchallenged. And it happened time and again. Again, it's not his game. I don't fault him in a way for playing poorly, but he was unable to really get an influence onto the game just because he wasn't getting any delivery at all. The odd time it was going down the left, but even so, Cancelo was just blocking him. Stones would block him. They were doing a fantastic job of stopping attacks before they developed. They were making sure that those rolling fouls. Every time 4 or 5 Arsenal players started to get together, one was taken out, another was taken out, bumped off behind John Moss's back, and nothing was given. And they're just brilliant at it. Barcelona were brilliant at it when Pep was there in 2009. Bayern Munich were brilliant at it. It's just what he does. It's not the low. How does Pep Guardiola defend? He just stops attacks before they start, and it's a case of how do you beat that? How you beat it by very simply fighting fire with fire. And the biggest difference again between this City side, which is on top of its game, and this Arsenal side, which isn't, is that this City side is full of confidence and is more than willing to push 5. Zinchenko again. Zinchenko is here with the ball and Cancelo is here with the ball. Like never mind Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne, they are here and here at times. When Arsenal do get the ball, it requires a hell of a lot of running for Cancelo to get back, and Bernardo Silva to get back, and Zinchenko to get back, and get Sterling to get back. Whenever Pepe and Saka and Aubameyang have the ball, but they do it. They do it time and again. They put in the work rate. They press. They harry. They hustle, and as a result, one poor pass, as soon as Arsenal try and get back and start pushing forward themselves, the ball is won. And Arsenal are retreating again. And City are back throwing 7 men at the ball. At attacks. And suddenly Arsenal are going, oh, here we go again. And another 4 minutes pass. And this is something that players can't really be coached out of. Because there were times when Zinchenko and Cancelo were getting back. And what City did was, they did a good job of making sure that Xhaka was not left free, but that whenever he got the ball, he didn't have an outlet. He didn't have a short pass to Odegaard. Silva would go here. Cancelo would make sure he was ahead of Saka. Fernandinho would always make sure he was ahead of Aubameyang. And what they would do is, Gundogan would press here, De Bruyne would press here, and they'd leave El Neni open. And they'd say, look, if El Neni gets a ball through our back 5, which in its essence it was with Fernandinho. If El Neni can make the progressive pass, fine. We'll concede that. We're going to make El Neni beat us. And is El Neni Gundogan? No. Is he De Bruyne? No. Is he Bernardo Silva? No. And whilst his defensive work rate is admirable, every time El Neni got the ball and Odegaard got into a bit of space, and City, even with Pepe who would go wide, and then he would look up, he would see 2 City players immediately surround him. And he has a choice. And it's either forward or back. And if you're going to beat City, whenever they push 4 or 5 men forward, the ball has to go forward as quickly as possible. You have to catch them out. You have to get them while they're forward, get them while they're recovering. But time and again, and then he looked round and went, nope, I'm not making a mistake, and the ball will go back to holding. And by that time, City have got back into shape. They've got their 5. De Bruyne would go back here, Gundogan would be here, and suddenly Arsenal are passing it back, and they've got 5 men on them again. And that's what has to change at Arsenal. That's the difference between the side in red, who is 10th in the league and struggling to put together a run of form that will get them into the top 4, and the team in white and blue, that's 10, 13 points clear in the league and is won 18 games in a row. This team is not afraid of making mistakes. This team is not afraid of taking risks. This team is more than happy to gamble based on the fact that they know that if they screw up, it's up to them to put in the work and get back and make sure that it's not a goal given away through their mistake. This City team does that. This Arsenal team doesn't. And let me just, where is it? It's here. Player statistics. This was kind of Arsenal's problem all game. Riyad Mahrez got 48 touches of the ball. Bernardo Silva got 47. Raheem Sterling got 54. "19" from your centre forward. 19. From your right wing, 22. Like, that's just not good enough. Arsenal did not do enough to get Aubameyang and Pepe into the game as soon as they got the ball. They had a fair chunk of the ball. Like, they had 45 to 55. But Arsenal weren't prepared to take that risk of getting the ball forward as quickly as possible. City were. And as a result, there was only 100 accurate passes in between the two of them. It's, again, 55 to 45% possession. You expect that. And again, City are really good. You expect them to have the majority possession in pretty much every game they play. But Arsenal had 262 passes in their own half. Manchester City had 335 passes in Arsenal's half. You cannot win games of football when you allow an opposition to dictate not only how, but where you play. And Arsenal allowed City to make sure that both sides played the ball here. That both sides made sure that they had to get the ball out from here. And what Man City did was they backed themselves. They said, if the ball's going to be here all game long, we're going to score more goals than you. We're going to make more chances than you. And we're going to make sure that we have more of the ball than you. And that's what happened. Arsenal did not have the players available to them to break Manchester City's stranglehold on the game. If this is Thomas Partey, maybe. If this is Emile Smith-Rowe, maybe. But this was a game that Arsenal, I don't want to say through, because obviously the Benfica game on Thursday night is far more important. But as the game wore on, City began to run out of steam and began to, let their foot off the gas a little bit. And Arsenal just didn't take advantage of it. Arsenal continued to make mistakes. They continued to be conservative. They continued to be too unwilling to gamble. And the subs they made kind of show this. Because they waited until there was 15 minutes to go. 73-73. And the one place Arsenal were having a little bit of joy as the game went on was here, with Saka at the heart of it again, because he's really good. But Tierney, because Mahrez was tired, Tierney was shaking off that rust that had accumulated over the last month and was getting the better of Mahrez and Cancelo and was getting free down here. And it was the one place that Arsenal at least had a chance. There was a chink in the armour. There was a sign that if Arsenal could get the ball down here and someone could run down this space, then maybe with another striker, they could get something. They could get one good cross, one good through ball, or whatever, and they could make one really good chance. But, and this is the but, and again, it's game management, but it also shows the limitations of what Arteta can and can't do at times. Because Pepe was doing nothing out here. That we can agree on. But here's the problem. When you bring on Lacazette to play as your number 9 with 15 minutes to go, He has to play as a number 9. He's not going to play anywhere else at this point. And when Arsenal's game plan is to knock the ball up long to catch out City on the break, Lacazette is a better number 9 than Aubameyang because his link-up play and his hold-up play is far superior to his counterpart. But if you're going to play Lacazette as a number 9, then where do you play Aubameyang? And unfortunately for Arsenal, the only option is here, which means Saka now goes here and Smith Rowe is here. And now what you've done is you've taken your best dribbler, you've taken your best ball progressor, and you've put him on the other side of the pitch because you have to make room for your captain. And with Tierney now with Aubameyang in his way almost, Tierney has to do this by himself because Aubameyang either stays here and tries to bring the ball to himself, which he tried to do a couple of times, but Stones and Cancelo just shepherded him down the wing. I mean, Cancelo nearly shoulder barged him off the pitch at one stage. But Aubameyang's plan is to get here, which means now Stones and Diaz sit back. So it's Cancelo and Mahrez versus Tierney. So now Tierney is 2-on-1. And it, again, robbed Arsenal of any initiative because now Tierney, again, who is his first 90 minutes back in 6 weeks, is now being asked to beat 2 men instead of 1. Like, he wasn't getting any help. Smith Rowe was trying his best to get in around, but at the time, Smith Rowe was being asked to chase around both Bernardo Silva and Gundogan because City were pushing forward themselves. It was an illustration of how limited Arsenal can affect the game and how poorly the squad is built, because by playing both Pepe and Saka simultaneously at the start of the game, Pepe coming down the left, off the bench, would have been the perfect sub. And yes, you might have meaning having to take off Aubameyang, but Aubameyang is just coming off a little bit of a layoff himself. He played Thursday night. Maybe he was running out of steam. Like, it's just one of those situations where you shouldn't be afraid of taking off your captain if he's not going to fit in the tactical plan. But he didn't want to. Arteta left him on, and as a result, Arsenal's best threat, which was down this left wing, shuddered to a halt. Because even after taking off El Neni and bringing on Ceballos, Arsenal were unable to get anything going because they were just simply unable to get the ball down the left quickly enough to take advantage of the fact of maybe Mahrez and Cancelo being out of position, because one of them knew that it only took one of them to limit Tierney, and then it's trusting Stones to take care of Aubameyang, and he did. And those are the little things. Those are the things that separate really, really good sides from great sides. City trusted their players to mark ours out of the game. And they did. And anytime Arsenal got a sniff of an opportunity, they didn't take advantage of it. And with 15 minutes to go, there was a chance. There was a chance down this left wing. But bringing on Lacazette, because it forced Aubameyang wide, was the wrong move. Like, keeping Aubameyang on was just wrong. Like, bringing on Martinelli instead, maybe, but we can talk about subs benches. Brought on Lacazette, okay. Brought on Smith Rowe, okay. Brought on Ceballos, okay. Had to bring on David Luiz as a concussion sub, okay. Martinelli was left on the bench again. Another situation where Arsenal needed a goal and they didn't bring on Martinelli. Willian was left on the bench, so happy days, and everyone else is a defender or a goalkeeper. But you look at that bench and you go, okay, it's not so bad. But Jesus, Ferran Torres, Phil Foden, Sergio Aguero, Rodri, Laporte, Mendy and Walker. That's what Arsenal are up against. Never mind the 11 here. Phil Foden might be the best midfielder out of the whole lot of them this year, apart from Gundogan if you're playing fantasy, but Foden's been superb. Didn't get on today. No, Sergio Aguero didn't play today. Gabriel Jesus got 20 minutes only because Kevin De Bruyne ran out of puff because it's his first game for a month. Like, that should show you the difference between us, a team that hopes to be contending for a title, and Manchester City, who are a team who are about to win it. We played okay, they played rather well, and they'll be disappointed to only have won 1-0. Like, it's just a testament to how much work Arteta is doing, but how much work there is still left to be done. If you did enjoy this episode of Daily Cannon's Tactics, I forgot the name of the show, Tactics Board. I'll get it right one day. But yeah, if you did like this episode, please leave a like, a comment, or subscribe it at the end. And yeah, we will talk to you next viewer. Good luck.